Welcome to Pixel Geek Smackdown. This is your host Danny with my co-host Mike.
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
Today we'll be talking about our first video game system ever.
Uh, it's interesting because when you say that, we had a lot of discussion about what would you consider your first one. Is it the one that you personally bought, or like was gifted to you specifically, or was it something you inherited from, like, say, your parents or something?
I
Uh,
would say either that you bought with your own money or given to you as a present.
because I mean, in my situation's a little bit different than yours because I have siblings and you didn't. So like a lot of the
hmm
times when I was younger, whenever I was gotten something, it tended to be like a family console or a family thing. So, but you, what was your first video game system that you either bought or was gifted to you?
Okay, so mine's a little bit of a story.
All right, I'll get the popcorn.
Okay, so growing up, I didn't have any brothers, sisters, cousins, or friends. So don't feel sorry for me. I'm okay with it.
That
So
was
the only time I got to play video games was at Pizza Hut or Round Table, and I would be playing either the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game or the Simpsons game from like I would say 5 years old until I was almost 9. I want to say,
so 4 years, give or take.
yeah. So then, like in the summer of '98, my dad brings home a PlayStation with Crash Bandicoot 2. No, I don't count it as my own system because it was, more of my dad buying it for the family.
Yeah, that's wow. It's just like it's kind of hard because like a lot of the times it tended to be for a mutual
Yeah, and
thing.
it was mostly in their room, so I couldn't like take it to my room or put it in the living room. Like I could only play it in their room.
Right.
So like they were monitoring it kind of in a way. So then a few weeks later, that same weekend, he brings home WWF Warzone. So that was my first game. Like that was my own game. And then for Christmas, I got another game, which was Red Rat's Search for Riptar. I don't know if you remember that game.
I do. I think I have it still.
And then my dad got Crash Bandicoot 3.
Uh,
And then uh, in '99, I paid for with my own money. I got the WWF Attitude game, and then Crash Bandicoot Team Racing. That was a gift. But then this is the sad part of the story. So before summer of 2000, the PlayStation gives out, and we were about to move too. So we're moving into a new house. The PlayStation was gone.
right.
I had the Game Boy, but I just had one game for it. It was the Game Boy, and I didn't really consider that a game because with the Game Boy, is like I would only play for like maybe an hour at most. Then I would get tired. I don't know if it was because the screen would hurt my eyes, but I couldn't play it forever.
Right.
Like with the system, I could be playing it for hours and hours. Like with the PlayStation, I would lose track of time. So we moved in the summer of 2000. No video game system. All I had was my Game Boy. Birthday came, nothing.
Really?
Then Christmas of 2000 comes. And usually I get like a lot of presents. But this year there wasn't that many presents under the tree.
You're like, what kind of bullshit is this?
Yeah, so like there was just a big box under the tree. And I think I had like a few other little presents, but it wasn't like other years.
Right.
Because majority of the years, because I'm an only child, like the tree would be mostly for me.
Right.
So I wonder if I've been like a naughty kid this year.
You've been a bad boy.
Yeah. So I opened my other presents first. It's just like clothes. I think maybe like some VHS tapes. And then I get to the big box, and it's a Nintendo 64. And I'm like, holy crap, a Nintendo 64? I gotta go get some games now. So then I don't remember, it was one of my parents. They went to their room and they brought out two wrap cartridges. Like, that they're cartridges.
Yeah.
One was Pokemon Stadium,
Oh man.
and the other one was WWF No Mercy. And I played the shit out of those games until I had to go back to school.
Freaking. So, when I don't know if you're like into like the collecting. I know that you're not super into like collecting the physical media anymore. You're more into the
Yeah,
digital realm. But I was just like I was curious to see how much like those boxes that the games used to come into. Like just
I
to
know
see
they're probably worth a lot of money these days.
you could I think when I last looked for the Pokemon Stadium freaking cardboard box, it was $60 just for the box, not for the game or the manual, the box.
It wouldn't surprise me too bad I didn't take care of the boxes.
Well, I mean, all my boxes were thrown out years ago.
Yeah, mine too. Is like it was just like open.
Yeah. Well, it's just like well, at least with me, what we used to do is we would like get the cartridge, would get the little instruction manual. We'll put the all the instruction manuals in like a little Ziploc bag, and the
Hmm.
cartridges would just go in like a box next to the Nintendo, and then the cartridge boxes would just be thrown out. They're just like, ah, we don't need it.
That's what we did. We just got like a little like it was for like CDs, but the 64 games were able to fit in there.
Yeah. I'm gonna
So that's why I kept my 64 games.
I'm gonna date myself here a little bit. We used to use 8-track cassette holders. If you know what those are, you know. They would fit sometimes, depending on the case. Some did, some didn't. It was weird. But so your first real system was the 64, huh?
Yeah.
Do you have it still?
No, it gave out like a couple of years ago, but it was my longest system I had.
Yeah, because I remember coming over to your house and playing it a couple times.
We weren't really into playing that. We were more into like the newer systems.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shit, I remember playing that, and then when we got bored of that, we watched the freaking Cell arc in Dragon Ball Z. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Or what was it, the 6+ hours that we played Dead Rising while listening to Sweeney Todd after making it about halfway through the Wolverine movie?
Yeah, that movie sucked.
Uh,
Wolverine.
yes. I was just like, Sweeney Todd's fun. It was a fun
Yeah.
movie.
Haven't watched it in a long time though.
You haven't watched it in a while?
Yeah.
I mean, same. I to be honest with you, after the 6 odd hours that we watched it, I was like, I'm good. I don't need to see it. My first system, well, I grew up with my dad's Atari and NES, so
Mhm.
like I wouldn't necessarily consider that my first system. And like I mentioned earlier, I had siblings, so when the Nintendo 64 we got, it was like a family thing. I have it, but the very first system I could consider mine was we were walking home from school one day, and
Mhm.
I had found you remember how back in the late 90s, early 2000s, everything had like that clear look so you could see the insides and everything,
Yeah.
and it was different colored.
Hmm.
Mine was a Game Boy Color we found on the street. It had been ran over, and the battery pack, like the battery thing to hold in the batteries, that little plastic thing, was
Yeah.
gone. But the screen was perfect. We put in new batteries, everything worked fine. So that was my first like real console, or if you could say, mine.
Okay. That's an interesting. Like, how do you think it got
I
there?
don't
Do you think
know.
it was driving by with the kid in the back seat, getting frustrated with the game, just throws it out the window,
Either that
or
or
do you think it was people moving and then it fell out of the car?
my assumption is it fell out of the car while moving, because like it was definitely a used system. But like I don't I feel like once they realized it was missing, that kid was probably devastated.
Well, he probably did it himself. I could see him like throwing it out the window,
Yeah, that's true. It's just
like
funny.
getting like frustrated with the game. And it's like rah, rah, this ah,
Just throw it out the window, and then immediately it's just like, oh no. But
probably.
but you know where I live. It's not like a super popular residential street, so
Oh, you found it on your street.
yeah, on the corner.
Holy shit! Like I thought you were like walking home like in like on a busy street or something.
No, we were turning. I'm not gonna be very specific, but it's the way that we'd go to like what was it, the GameStop, and it was there.
Oh, okay, I know what street what part of the street you're talking about now.
Yeah, it was just sitting there. It was in the middle of the street, and I like ran out and I grabbed it, and I was like, "Look, a Game Boy!" And like we were just like, "Oh!" And then my grandma's like, "I wonder if it works." So we, tested it, and everything worked fine. And then I remember because I had to share my Game Boy. I had to share the original Game Boy that we got from my mom with my sisters, and so like when she wanted to play it, I couldn't play my Pokemon anymore. So then when I got this, I was super excited.
Because you have to play your game.
Yep. Although, to be honest with you, thinking back now, there's no way in hell I'd be able to fucking see that screen nowadays. Even with the super like enhanced zoom and shit, that thing is tiny and hard to see.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean but if you want like my first console, like since you're saying that the Game Boy you didn't really consider your first like thing that you
Well, for me it was different because I only had one game for it at the time. Was the Pikachu one.
I mean I had red till we got yellow.
Yeah, so I only had the yellow one, and like I said, I can only play it for a certain amount of time because then my eyes would start hurting.
The one advantage I have over you. I only have one eye turned. uh
Yeah, but at that time my vision wasn't really that good.
yeah.
Too. Like now I'm used to it, I guess you could say.
I know that I remember I could only play it for a little bit, but like I'd say screw that, I'm playing it anyway, and then I'd have to like lay down and take my glasses off because my head would hurt so much. But if we're going console, Xbox, OG Black Xbox.
Mm.
The amount of hours I put into that stupid thing. Like I don't know if I'm sure you remember the Jaws game that came out while we were in high school.
Yes, the one that you were all excited for, and then you got it. It was like one of the big disappointments ever.
Yes, and then I was like, well, that was just a big old waste of fucking time.
Yep.
There was that game, the Star Wars games. There's a lot, so I won't mention them. And then I don't. Speaking of Jaws, have you seen anything about a game called Maneater?
No, I have not.
It came out a few years ago, and you play like a little baby shark, and you progressively grow and grow until you reach the size of a megalodon. It's really fun. I don't believe it's for the Switch, but
well, that's the only problem is I only play the Switch.
I know that's why I said I don't know if it's for the Switch, but it's honestly a really fun game, and it's what I hoped Jaws was going to be at the time.
So, do you want to know my video game console history?
Oh, it is for the Switch.
Okay.
Came out a couple years ago, but sure, what's that?
Okay, so I started with the 64. I got that in 2000 in 5th grade.
Okay.
So when I get to 6th grade, I get a PlayStation 2.
Okay.
For my birthday. At the end of the year for finishing elementary, I got an Xbox, the original.
All right.
And then that Christmas, I got the GameCube. So in almost one whole year straight, I got the first 3 systems like that.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And then I got the 360.
Yep.
Which that was fun.
Good memories there.
I was being sarcastic because of the Rings of Death.
We don't talk about the Rings of Death. Halo 3 is dead to me for a reason.
I thought it was Grand Theft Auto.
Nope, Halo 3.
Okay. Oh, maybe mine was Grand Theft Auto.
Yours was probably Grand Theft Auto, because I remember everyone was jonesing for fucking Halo 3. And so I'm like, all right, I'll try it. I don't really understand what the big deal was. I mean, I didn't really particularly care for the first 2. So I get Halo 3, put it in, red rings.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone...
And then
go ahead.
Then I got the PSP, which I missed.
Ahead of its time.
Yep. And then I got the PS4. And then I got the Xbox One. And then after a while, I gave up on games. And then a few years ago, I got into the Switch.
Yes.
So that's my video game system history.
I'll tell you mine in a second, but I just want to say for any of the people that are commenting saying that the Halo game did not give me the red rings of death. I know the red rings is not caused by a video game. It's caused by a failure in the system, but that is what my brain associates with. So that's how it is in my brain.
Yeah, I'm not blaming mine on Grand Theft Auto either.
I know it, but in my heart of hearts, somehow it's Halo's fault. I know it's not. I know it's not. But just that's what my brain is just like. Screw you, Halo. But my gaming history, excluding my like, or we just
Well, whatever you played first or whatever.
I played the Atari. Then we moved to the NES. Then we got the
Hmm.
64, and then my cousin had the PlayStation 1.
So you got to play the play that way.
Yeah, I vividly remember watching him play like Resident Evil 1 and
Hmm.
being scared shitless at the very beginning with the zombie turnaround. And then my next door neighbors had the Sega, and then they got the PlayStation 2. I didn't have the PlayStation 2 till like really late in its like life cycle.
Like towards the end.
Yeah, I think when I got we got the PlayStation 2, it was probably like 2002, 2003.
Okay.
I want to say because I remember playing the original Budokai on it.
Hmm.
And well, originally I got the original Budokai, and then I had to go over to my neighbor's house and would play it. But um, and then I got the Xbox, and then we got the GameCube, and then I got the PSP. And I mean, at this point, I've had every Nintendo console as well. We have the Wii still. It's at my dad's house. Um,
Hmm.
we still have all those consoles, and I got the 360. I got the Red Ring of Death. I got a new console, and then the fans started to die, and then I got the PS3. Traded that in for the PS4. Uh, then I got the Xbox One. Then I traded those in for a PS5. And then a lot of issues happened with the PS5. I said, fuck that. And now I have the Xbox fridge and the Switch.
Mm.
So I've
Do you think you're done getting game systems, or you're like,
the only game system that I'm interested in now is so I've been I mean, firstly, this is all conjecture. So, grain of salt. Switch 2 is possibly coming out later this year.
yeah, I saw that.
I don't know if I want to get that because I mean I just got the fancy editions and I'm happy with it.
Hmm.
I've also heard rumors, and once again, rumors. So I just want to preface this a lot by saying it's rumors. Um, I've also heard that they're not going to be making any more Xboxes.
So like Xbox is kind of like done.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because there's been a lot of reports that I mean, if you look on it, the PlayStation 5 has outsold the Xbox 3-1 last year. Like the PlayStations were just crushing it, even with all the
Hmm.
specials that Xboxes had. But I've also heard that they don't want to invest in the Xboxes anymore. They want to focus more on the PC side. Now, I don't know how true that is. It could just be complete gobbledygook. But the Xboxes might not be like they might not continue the console. And if that's the case, that's fine. I'll just go I'll just go PC
Hmm.
and probably get a Switch too eventually. But yeah, I mean, I'm not getting another PlayStation.
Done.
Yeah, I'm done. Screw you. So the only thing Sony I'll support is the Crunchyroll. That's where all my anime is and stuff. After outside of that, nope.
Hmm. As for me, I'm just gonna stay with the Switch.
Even when the Switch 2 comes out, are you gonna get the Switch 2?
If I can transfer everything from my Switch to that one.
I mean, in theory, it should. That's what we did with. I don't know if you remember with the DS and the 3DS.
Oh yeah, that's true, I guess.
That's the one thing I will defend Nintendo on is they're pretty good at transferring your data over, like your account.
Yeah, I could lose all that work I put into all those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like I've had the same Xbox account since the 360 started, and like I have so many achievements on that thing. It's ridiculous. I've been watching someone trying like 100% games, and like he's doing like the super hard achievements, like on
Oh yeah.
yeah, like in almost like in all the Dead Spaces, there's beat the game on impossible mode, which is you get one life, and if you die, you have to start from the beginning.
Oh my god, I couldn't do that.
I've asked a couple people, I was like, have you ever done a permadeath run? They're just like, no. There's one person I've asked about permadeath, and he said he's done it a couple times, and he said it has aged me 20 years. I was like, I'd believe it. I'll send you the link later
All right.
to one of the guy that I was watching, so that you could see what I'm talking about. But that's kind of it for what I have. I don't have anything else really for the thingy thing.
All right. So I guess we're done with this topic.
Yeah, I mean, unless you had anything else to add.
No, that was pretty much it. Thank you for listening or watching.
Or both.
Like, subscribe. I hate that I have to say that, but a lot of people do that.
Yeah. Follow. I don't know what's the terms they use these days. I don't know what the term is.
I have no idea.
I'm old. I don't follow the trends.
So
But thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you whenever the next one happens. Bye-bye.
bye.